Bitcoin. Just that word alone sends some people into a financial frenzy. Those that bought into it when it was just an idea of a better system for a few cents, or those that jumped on the bus to financial freedom, will defend Bitcoin to the death if someone so dares to even mention its existence is an idea built on nothing but the wave of the future. How dare they? At over $30,000 a coin, it's hard to argue with those folks when they have the money value to back up their claims. Many lucky folks have cashed in their Bitcoin to a better life, and some have, well, tried to, but Lady Luck just wasn't on their side. That bitch. So let's look at some lucky unluck people that just can't get the Bitcoin rush working in their favor. Sean Russell. Sean rarely played the stock market and had a little investing experience when he put around $120,000, his life savings, into Bitcoin in November of 2017. He was stunned when his investment turned into $500,000 in just 1 month. Ka-ching! I think there was one morning where I woke up where I'd made about $15,600 in one morning on my investments, and it just kept going, said Russell. I was thinking, wow, that's mortgages paid. That's holidays that I've always dreamed of. But alas, the dream didn't last for Russell, who worked as a property developer in the United Kingdom, buying homes and fixing them up. The price of Bitcoin surpassed $20,000 in December before collapsing down around $6,300. Russell attempted to mitigate his losses by shifting money from Bitcoin to an offshoot called Bitcoin Cash and other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum and Ripple. But that didn't work either, and the paper losses on his initial investment dropped 96%. It was devastating, quite traumatic really, he said. I've seen stories on the news of billionaires going bankrupt, and you think, how can that be? How on earth did you lose that amount of money? And yet, here I am in that position. Well, Russell, we hope you didn't cry for long and held on to your valuable Bitcoin, because at the making of this video, Bitcoin was well worth over $30,000 a coin. Let's hope so. So, have you heard about Bitcoin Pizza Day? Well, it's the celebration of the pizza order that to this day probably leaves most folks stunned and wondering how this could happen. But then again, when the pizza cravings call, people go to odd lengths to get their favorite pie, and you really gotta answer that call. The day has become kind of folklore. Not because of the transaction, but more the price. The man in question paid 10,000 Bitcoins for 2 pizzas, which today is worth over $80 million for 2 pizzas. Wow, for real? On May 22nd, 2010, now known as Bitcoin Pizza Day, Laszlo Hanyecks agreed to pay 10,000 Bitcoins for 2 delivered Papa John's pizzas. Organized on the Bitcoin Talk forum, the Florida man reached out for help. I'll pay 10,000 Bitcoins for a couple of pizzas, maybe like 2 large ones so I have some left over for the next day, Hanyecks wrote. There you go, Florida. Are you proud now? I like having leftover pizza to nibble on later. You can make the pizza yourself and bring it to my house, or order it for me from a delivery place. But what I'm aiming for is getting food delivered in exchange for Bitcoins where I don't have to order or prepare it myself. Kind of like ordering a breakfast platter at a hotel or something. They just bring you something to eat and you're happy. More like your mom makes your food for you. Well, leave it up to the Brits to lead the charge, as a British man took up Hanyecks' offer and bought the 2 pizzas for him in exchange for the 10,000 Bitcoins. Even then, the recipient of the Bitcoins got himself a bargain, paying $25 for the pizzas, while 10,000 Bitcoins were worth around $41 at the time. Since the inception of Bitcoin, Hanyecks' pizzas have got more and more expensive. 9 months after the purchase, Bitcoin reached parity with the US dollar, making the 2 pizzas worth $10,000, and in 2015, the 5th anniversary of Bitcoin Pizza Day, the 2 pizzas were valued at around $2.4 million. Today, Bitcoin is at just over, well, you get the idea. Despite the astronomical rise in the price of Bitcoin, it seems Hanieks is not fazed about his deal. It wasn't like the Bitcoins had any value back then, so the deal of trading them for a pizza was incredibly cool, Hanieks told the New York Times. Yeah, sure, whatever you gotta tell yourself to get through the day. Well, Laszlo, being able to carry the title as the coolest guy to ever spend well over $2 million on a pizza does indeed earn you the status of having eaten the world's most expensive pizza, beating out Mr. Beast. So this next story to all you crypto holders out there should tell you to never trust someone with all your cryptocurrency, especially if they're the only person that holds the singular password to millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. Gerald Cotton. When Gerald Cotton, who served as the chief executive officer of the Quadriga CX exchange, died on December 9th in India due to complications relating to Crohn's disease, he took with him the only password to the wallet that contained all the digital currency that was locked away by hundreds of customers. The Vancouver-based exchange claimed in a blog post that Mr. Cotton's death means that they're unable to pay customers around more than $41 million in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies that they're owed, prompting various conspiracy theories surrounding the whereabouts of the funds. Some customers have even questioned the death of Mr. Cotton, taking to social media platforms to demand proof in the form of an obituary or death certificate. According to CoinDesk, a death certificate was included in the list of court documents. This is standard practice for many cryptocurrency exchanges as it helps to prevent hacking. However, other exchange operators say it is unusual for the keys to be held by just one person. Using a reputable custodian to hold the private keys outside the company is perhaps the best option to ensure these codes are not lost, the officials at the large exchange quoted. Following this news, there's likely to be a large amount of scrutiny on Quadriga in case someone does hold the private key and attempts to siphon the funds. There is a clear lesson here that having a single person owning this information creates a huge vulnerability. They are not only risking huge amounts of money being lost in the event of their death, but also pose a huge risk for kidnapping by people wishing to steal or use blackmail to obtain the coin. Well said. Horror tales these days are driving many crypto holders to get a wallet. But please be aware. Write down your password or at least give it to someone you trust, like your dog or your mother. Mr. Cotton's wife, Jennifer Robertson, stated in an affidavit, "I do not know the password or recovery key. Despite repeated and diligent searches, I have not been able to find them written down anywhere." Well, let's hope that one day Miss Cotton will find her husband's password stored somewhere around the house. The Winklevoss twins. People usually don't say nice things about the Winklevoss twins, like those guys over there.
Hey, check it out. There's the Winklevoss twins.
Let's get a drink.
Let's get a drink. I thought of it first.
The twins are the original creators of Facebook, at least that's what they claim, yeah, sure, and made a hefty out-of-court settlement with Mark Zuckerberg over the claim. Despite failing to get control of Facebook, they still won the major lawsuit, picking up a handsome settlement of $65 million. They used a portion of their winnings to buy into the currency, which was trading at just $120 at the time. The Winklevosses made an $11 million investment in Bitcoin, and they haven't sold a single coin yet as they have been playing the waiting game to watch it go up in value. This puts the estimated value of the twins' holdings at $1.4 billion and climbing. Yeah, sure, we'll jump on the Winklevoss hate wagon as well. Unfortunately, Tyler and Cameron have lost $1 billion from investing in Bitcoin in the fallout of the recent crash in cryptocurrency. However, don't feel too sorry for them as they're not lamenting the loss quite yet. According to Fortune, they're still stinking rich and are still billionaires by Bitcoin standards.
Bitcoin.
James Howell. The Winklevoss twins might be able to soak the loss of the odd $1 billion here and there, but British IT worker James Howell probably needed the money a little more. Like the Winklevoss twins, he moved into cryptocurrency early, mining 7,500 bitcoins between 2009 and 2013. He sold the laptop he used to mine the coins but kept the hard drive just in case those keys ever turned out to be useful. During a clean out later that year, he accidentally tossed out the drive, which ended up buried in a landfill in Wales. Talk about your dirty money. At Bitcoin's peak, the coins on that hard drive would have been worth more than $146 million. The municipality, which adds 50,000 tons of trash to the site every year, has refused Howell's permission to try to dig out the drive, citing environmental risks. Too bad, we say. Somewhere in a dump in the UK is a giant pot of digital money. Get your hazmat suit and picks, boys, we're going digging. Derrick Rose. One of the more cautionary tales of Bitcoin losses comes from Australian journalist Derrick Rose. In 2017, Rose cashed in his $70,000 retirement account and poured it all into cryptocurrencies. At first, things went great. Cryptocurrencies were racing upwards, and Rose borrowed money to enhance his investments. I hope he didn't borrow any money from a guy named Guido. He was paying $1,000 a day in interest, but he was making $500,000 a day in profit. At one point, his holdings had reached $7 million. When a friend suggested to cash in, he replied that he wanted to own a sports team and a yacht. I would have held out for a hard roll and some ketchup. He continued using leverage and quickly lost everything. It's one thing to lose money you've won, but to lose money you can't afford to lose is a lesson for everyone. Stephen Thomas. A San Francisco man said he has made peace with a $250 million fortune that may have gotten away from him as a result of misplacing his Bitcoin password. In an interview with a local news station, Stephen Thomas explained that his 7,002 Bitcoins, which equates to nearly $250 million and climbing, has been out of his grasp since 2012. According to Thomas, he lost the password to his Iron Key, an encrypted hard drive that holds the keys to his digital wallet, the same year. Since then, Thomas told the outlet he has tried 8 variations of his commonly used passwords in an attempt to gain access to his Iron Key. Unfortunately, his chances are running out, as Iron Key only allows users 10 attempts before it seizes up and encrypts its contents forever. But the years have given Thomas enough time to process the potential loss. And while he says time heals all wounds, yeah, right, the moments he first realized he couldn't access his cryptocurrency account were harrowing, to say the least. There were sort of a couple of weeks where I was just desperate. I don't have any other word to describe it, Thomas stated. You sort of question your own self-worth. What kind of person loses something that important? I would just lie in bed and think about it. Then I would go to the computer with some new strategy and it wouldn't work, and I would be desperate again. No doubt, at least somewhat as a result of his experience, Thomas now believes there's a good reason that traditional financial institutions exist as opposed to open source money exchange solutions like Bitcoin. This whole idea of being your own bank, let me put it this way, do you make your own shoes? The reason why we have banks is that we don't want to deal with all those things that banks do. Bitcoin is also unable to help as it doesn't store passwords, but rather grants individuals who buy Bitcoin a private key to their digital wallet, which only they have access to. As of now, Thomas said he has put the Iron Key in a secure facility in the hopes that cryptographers will eventually be able to help him access his digital wallet. In addition to keeping the passwords to his cryptocurrency safe, Thomas said he also did it to protect his mental health. I got to a point where I said to myself, let it be in the past, just for your own mental health, he explained. And still, another person who goes by the name Dalton Mackey purchased 25 Bitcoins and placed them in a wallet. After his computer system crashed, he got a new one, forgetting all about his Bitcoins, tossing the now junk computer away. Only after the crypto boom did it occur to him that he could have been a millionaire today. Brad Yasser. Brad Yasser, a Los Angeles-based business owner, claims that he has many desktop PCs that reportedly have thousands of bitcoins he had mined when the cryptocurrency network was first launched. Yasser revealed that he's now spent hundreds of hours trying to get back into these wallets, but he hasn't had any success because he apparently lost the passwords to these accounts several years ago. German authorities who seized a convicted hacker's wallet containing over 1,700 Bitcoin, worth at least $64.7 million at today's prices, have hit a brick wall when trying to access the coins. According to a German prosecutor cited by Reuters, the convicted criminal is refusing to share the password that would allow the authorities to access the Bitcoin. The hacker was sentenced to an over 2-year prison term for installing software on other people's computers without permission in order to mine cryptocurrency. He now has served the sentence and has consistently refused to hand over the wallet password despite multiple requests. "We asked him, but he didn't say," the prosecutor told Reuters. "Perhaps he doesn't know." Prosecutors have made sure the man cannot access the Bitcoin trove after release, Reuters said, without providing any further detail. Now that's a criminal that knows how to keep his mouth shut. So are you a victim of your own accord, like forgetting your password or have a corrupted wallet somehow? Well, meet the man who will hack your long-lost Bitcoin wallet, for money of course. For the man that goes by the name of, ironically, Dave Bitcoin, fake name, the alias of the software architect that hacks people's cryptocurrency passwords. The price surge of Ethereum's blockchain token Ether has generated a significant amount of work that wouldn't have been steered his way without his focus on developing trust. And just to be clear, Dave Bitcoin hacks people's passwords with their permission. He runs the website Wallet Recovery Services, which recovers people's lost or forgotten passwords by brute force decryption. That is, using a computer program to try millions of passwords in a short amount of time. He provides the service for Bitcoin, Litecoin, and most other alternative cryptocurrency wallets, and in December, he began decrypting Ethereum presale wallets. "I love a challenge," said Dave Bitcoin. "Initially back in mid-2013, I just wanted to understand the cryptography used by Bitcoin and the formats of encryption in the wallets. I realized that I was able to potentially help people who have forgotten their wallet passwords, and it grew from there." Dave Bitcoin has worked with more than 1,000 people since he launched the service, and his success rate is about 30%. But it's a rate that varies drastically based on how much information a client gives. Since January, Dave Bitcoin's Ethereum business has exploded, coinciding with the 1,000% price increase. Dave Bitcoin charges 20% of the amount in the wallet, which is a risk since typically he doesn't know how much is in the wallet before he decrypts it. "I try to help everyone, even if the money involved in the wallets doesn't really make financial sense," Dave Bitcoin said. As Dave Bitcoin said, and his service proves, it is still early days in the cryptocurrency world. So overall, with all that Bitcoin out there trapped in unmovable addresses and garbage pits, Coinmetrics finally offered a new accounting of the real circulating Bitcoin supply, meaning that about 4 million Bitcoins have been lost to the sands of time. Know your Bitcoin password. Until next time.